Hi, I'm Daniel Gold, and welcome to the Gold Standard Leadership Lab. By day, I'm a partner at a leading advisory firm where I draw upon my background as an attorney to help my clients succeed. This podcast, though, is my personal project, completely separate and apart from my day job, but reflects the same passion that I exhibit everywhere for teaching, mentoring, and helping others succeed through simple, impactful lessons. It is my hope that you'll walk away with practical takeaways to help you on your leadership journey. Thanks for being a part of this community and for joining me in the Leadership Lab. Let's get started. So I want to ask you a question. When did you last read your organization's core values? Not just skim them on the website or in marketing materials, but really read them and consider if they still hold up in daily work. For most people, the answer is, well, never. Core values often end up as decoration, nice words written by leadership or marketing, maybe during a retreat and then forgotten. They get framed, beautiful poster on the wall, printed on swag, and have little to do with what the organization really does or how it actually works. The problem is, team members notice this. They pay attention to what leaders do, not just what they say. When actions and words don't match, the people you want to keep start looking for other opportunities. An organization goes through lots of branding exercises. They bring in high-priced consultants, they run workshops, they survey the employees, and they emerge in the end with a beautiful set of core values, including a focus on people, on teamwork, giving everyone ownership and holding ourselves to higher standards. That's how we deliver amazing client experiences. Leadership puts these values on posters, their website, and email signatures. But the problem is that some organizations, nothing actually changes. The goal structure still rewards individual performance rather than collaboration. Professionals still have no autonomy because every decision requires approval from 3 various different levels of management. Accountability is selective, client experiences are inconsistent, and people come last, not first, when the budgets get tight. This means that core values are just decoration. This means that they don't guide behavior, influence decisions, or affect who gets promoted. Saying you have values but not living by them can actually be worse than not having them at all. You tell people what matters, but your actions show otherwise. And again, people notice. They take it to heart, and ultimately, and unfortunately, they adjust their expectations. And it's what I call the watching problem. We've discussed this before on the Gold Standard Leadership Lab, how people notice when leaders say collaboration is essential, but everyone's goals are individual. They see when leaders talk about empowerment, but every decision needs approval from several people. And they also see when leaders claim accountability is essential, but some people are let off the hook. This is obvious. Actions always speak louder than words. The people who care most about your values are the first to notice when your actions don't match what you say. The people you actually want to stay at your organization, the ones who believe in the mission, they are the ones to leave first when they see the disconnect. They came to your organization believing that the values were real. And when they realize the values are just words, they lose faith. They can't stomach the dissonance between what you say and what you do. And meanwhile, the cynics, well, they stay. They know how to work the system and never believed in the values anyway. They're comfortable with the way things are because they know how to get by. And this leads to a bigger problem. You keep the wrong people and you lose the right ones. And it's a problem that is being created by leadership. So I'd like to talk to you all about what I like to say is a leadership integrity audit. Now, if you think that there might be a gap between your stated values and your actions, here's a simple framework with 5 questions. The first question is this: What do we say matter most here at this organization? So I'd like you to review your core purpose, your core values, and your mission statement. Write them down, be specific. These are your words, no one else's. Number 2, what do we actually measure and reward? And what appears on your dashboard? What gets discussed in leadership meetings? What drives bonuses, promotions, and recognition? Because here's the thing. If you claim people come first, but only track revenue and hours, there's a gap. If you say collaboration matters, but only evaluate individual performance, there's a gap. So be honest about what you really measure, because it will show what you truly value. So next, where is the gap? Compare what you say matters with what you actually measure and reward. Where do they differ? Okay. Next, what would change if your actions actually did match your words? If you closed the gap, what would be different? Set goals that reward collaboration as much as individual performance. You could track client satisfaction as closely as you are tracking the revenue. Maybe you'd give people real decision-making power. Whatever the change, I promise you this, it will be uncomfortable. But that's okay. If the gap is real, closing it makes real changes, and real changes makes you a more powerful organization. Okay, next question. Are you willing to do the hard work? Now that's the real test. Because everything discussed here so far, that takes self-reflection, it takes courage, and it requires a lot of follow-through. It means admitting what isn't working and changing systems, structures, and behaviors. Are you ready to do that? Or will your values stay as decoration? Because if you are ready, I encourage you to act now and not later. So now let's talk about an end-of-year retrospective with 5 questions. As the year ends, it is such a good time to reflect. If you want to close the gap between words and actions, you need an honest look at what has really happened this year. So for instance, number 1, what did I say I valued this year? Think all the way back to January. What were your stated priorities? Leadership, collaboration, client experience, innovation, doesn't matter. Write them all down. Now, next, what did I actually spend my time on? Not what you intended to prioritize. What actually consumed your hours, your energy, and your attention? If you said collaboration mattered, but you spent 0 hours facilitating cross-team projects, well, you have your answer. Number 3, what did I reward? What did I celebrate? And what did I promote? Who received the bonuses or promotions? What behaviors did those choices encourage? What did I ignore, tolerate, excuse? What behaviors did you see that went against your values? And how did you respond? Because what you tolerate actually says more about your real values than what you celebrate. Next, what would an observer think you truly value? If someone watched you all year and only saw your actions, what would they believe matters most to you? Be honest, because this is what people actually see. Okay, so now once you've answered all of those questions, that was a retrospective, let's do a forward inspection for the next year. Okay, so a forward inspection for the next year, let's talk about 4 questions that we could be writing down and asking ourselves. If you want next year to be different, you need to be clear about what you're committing to and what needs to change. So number 1, what do I want to be true about my leadership, my contributions, and how do I show up next year? Be specific. So instead of saying something like, well, I want to collaborate more, say, I will start at least 1 cross-team project each quarter. Because being specific, that builds accountability. Okay, number 2, what goals, behaviors, or metrics need to change to make that happen? Okay, well, goals, behaviors, and metrics need to change to make that happen. If you want more collaboration, but your goals are only individual, well, something needs to change. find those barriers and commit to removing them. Our next question: what am I willing to stop doing, tolerating, or rewarding? Now, often the most challenging work is removing things, not adding more. If you value efficiency, stop celebrating long hours. If you value agility, stop excusing slow processes. And if you value goals, please do not wait until the end of December to check progress. And then last, what do I need to become? Right? What do I need to become to close the gap between my words and my actions? Because this is about character. Leadership is so much more about systems and structures. In as much as I love talking about it here on the Gold Standard Leadership Lab, leadership is about integrity. Leadership is about follow through. Are you willing to become that person? So I want to talk to you about something else, and it's why companies exist. It sounds like a funny thing. Companies don't exist just to grow revenue. Now, I've talked to companies before who say that their sole purpose is to make money. That's fine. I happen to think that that's the wrong perspective, my opinion. I believe that revenue is a result, not the main purpose. Let me explain this. If your company's only goal is to grow revenue, then, anything is allowed. You might cut corners. You burn out your people or ignore your values just as long as revenue increases because you believe that your company exists just to drive revenue. But here's the thing. If your company exists for a real purpose, like helping clients succeed, empowering your team, or creating exceptional client experiences, then revenue follows. Revenue follows just from doing those things well. You're not a not-for-profit. You're there to make money. No doubt, no question. But when you really truly believe that your company exists for a purpose to enable your clients to be more successful, clients see that authenticity. Clients see that passion. They see that purpose. And what they do is they will bring you more business. Revenue will follow. And this, I believe, this is the real test of whether your values matter or they're just for show. When short-term revenue and long-term purpose clash, what do you choose? If you always pick revenue, then your purpose means nothing. But if you stick to your purpose, even when it's hard or even when it's costly, people believe in you. They invest and commit and trust your values. So I think this is where it leaves us. It's easy to state your values. Living them is so much harder. The people you want to keep on your team are those who believe in your mission and values as strongly and as passionately as you do. They notice when your actions do not match your words, and they leave your organization when the gap gets too big. If you want to keep those people and build an organization that truly lives its purpose, you need to close the gap, not perfectly or instantly, but with consistency and honesty. I encourage you to run the Leadership Integrity Audit, complete the retrospective, plan the forward inspection, and then I want you to take action. Because remember, leadership isn't about perfection. It is about progress. Take this lesson, put it into action, and continue setting the gold standard in your own life and at work. See you all next time.